Good evening. I now call to order the York County School Board regular meeting for December the 16th, 2019. Welcome, everyone, and I hope you're having a great week and enjoying the holiday festivities and special programs that are in the community, at your churches, and especially at your schools. Our last board meeting, this is our last board meeting for 2019, and the last meeting that Mrs. Haywood, Mr. Medford, and Dr. George will participate in as board members. So this is a bittersweet time for all of us as we release them to spend more time with their families and enjoy their other interests and endeavors. And I'll have some remarks to share a little later in the meeting regarding their service. So I want to ask our pledge leader, Caden Chambers, a fourth grade student from Yorktown Elementary, to step forward while I share some information about Caden. So Yorktown Elementary is proud to recognize Caden Chambers as the pledge leader for December. Caden is a bright light at our school and he has a contagious smile and outgoing personality. His favorite classes are math and PE, and he said that math is getting easier each day that he studies, and they're proud of him and his hard work. He likes PE because he gets to run and have exercise. Caden is an extremely athletic young man, and is one of the proudest accomplishments at the school was qualifying for the York Elementary School mile run competition with a time of 7 minutes and 44 seconds. Caden was one of the only third graders who qualified to compete last spring. He beams with pride when talking about being a defensive tackle and linebacker for the Yorktown Patriots Mighty Mites football team. He also enjoys running track, playing basketball at the Boys and Girls Club each afternoon. Caden was a member of the Young Scholars After School Club last year and is currently a member of the Creative Kids Club that meets during lunch at York Elementary School Makerspace. This year, he wanted to work with the SCA because he said he wanted to be a role model for the younger kids. He enjoys working with younger students. For example, he's assisted with kindergarten students during school assemblies and has helped care for the monarch butterflies in the kindergarten through second grade classrooms. Outside of school, Caden is an active member of his church, where he plays the bongos during the service. He enjoys visiting the nursing home with his grandmother and sister after church to sing and visit with the residents there. Caden's mother shared that even when he gets frustrated with schoolwork, he always tries his hardest. She described him as a very loving child who loves to play drums and football. He is a family person, and both Caden and his mother called him a mama's boy, as they both said with a warm smile. When speaking with Caden, he wanted us to know that his favorite food is chicken and rice, and his favorite car is the G-Wagon, and his favorite fashion designer is Gucci. His mom confirmed that he loves fashion and he loves to look good, but most of all, he loves his family. Caden is known throughout the school and connected with adults and children across the grade levels because of his outgoing personality and big smile. He is a hard worker and soaring York Elementary School Falcon, and we're proud to have him represent York Elementary School as the pledge leader and look forward to watching him continue to soar. So please stand as Caden leads us in our pledge tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Caden. Now we're going to move into our awards and recognitions, and as a reminder, during the break, there'll be an opportunity to take pictures for all award recipients up here at the front, so we'll take a break after we do all the awards tonight. So we're going to start with our seniors of the month, and the following students are being recognized for their achievements, and first we have Bruton High School, Mrs. Haywood.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. I have the honor of introducing to you the senior of the month from Bruton High School, Michaela Phoenix. If Michaela will stand, Mom and Dad, Mr. and Mrs. Israel and Rhonda Phoenix, along with Grandma and Sister, and anybody else with you. Everybody stand up. Fantastic. And let me share some information with you about Michaela. Bruton High School is proud to recognize Michaela Phoenix as our December Senior of the Month. Michaela is a dedicated, thoughtful, and affable Panther. Michaela is a student leader who demonstrates this leadership by serving as a positive peer model. She is committed to excellence in academics and has earned the highest academic honors award each year. Michaela is a member of the National Honor Society, vice president of the Key Club, and is the spirit coordinator for the class of 2020. She's also a member of the Bruton softball and Bruton track teams. She participates in several community organizations, such as the NAACP Youth Council and the Jamestown Mayhem softball. She has received the NAACP AXO Award for all 4 years, which stands for Afro Academic, Cultural, Technological, and Scientific Olympics. She also has been selected as a Virginia Girls State attendee last summer. We are proud of Michaela's accomplishments, and we look forward to her continued success as she attends college next fall, and this is the part I love, to major in nursing. So we're going to talk about nursing when we have a break. So congratulations, Michaela. Please join me in congratulating her.
All right, next is Grafton High School, and I have that one, and it's Daniel Hoffman. If you could stand with your parents, Mario and Tina Hoffman. Is anybody else with you tonight? Just you? Okay, perfect. That's good. That's fine. So it's with great pleasure and enthusiasm that I share with you Grafton's Senior of the Month, Daniel Hoffman. It's been a true joy watching Daniel grow as a person and a leader during his time at Grafton High School. Academics have always been a priority for Daniel. Over the course of his 4 years at Grafton, he has taken 12 advanced courses and received the highest honors in his grades each year. Daniel's GPA of 4.3 and a class ranking in the top 10% clearly speak to his hard work and dedication in making academics a priority for him. Not only is Daniel invested in his academics, but he is invested in his school and community through his leadership positions, involvement in clubs, activities, and sports, and his time spent giving back to the community. Because of Daniel's commitment to his academics, he has been selected to be in the National Honor Society, the German Honor Society, serving as vice president, History Honor Society, and the English Honor Society. Daniel also represented this class by serving as a sophomore class president. Daniel has a passion for soccer and has dedicated himself to the sport for over 10 years. He has served as captain of the Grafton High School soccer team, as well as captain for his club league, Virginia Legacy Club, and the CCL United All-Star team. During his time as captain for the Grafton soccer team, he helped the team win first team All-Region and second team All-State. Daniel is motivated and takes the initiative to make things happen. Daniel served as the founder for the Grafton Tech Club to help bring the club to Grafton that many students had an interest in. Daniel has been a part of the Youth Volunteer Corps since 6th grade, where he has worked with senior citizens, children, and organizing food shelters. Daniel also shared his love for soccer by volunteering as a coach at camps, setting up game day festivities, and organizing community outreach events. Daniel is a true gentleman in every way, greets everyone with a smile, goes out of his way to check on others, and treats all students and adults with respect, and always asks if he can help in any way. It makes us proud to call Daniel a Clipper and to be our Senior of the Month for December. Congratulations, Daniel. So now our next Senior of the Month is from Tab High School, and Dr. George.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Richardson. It's my pleasure this evening to introduce the Senior of the Month from Tab High School, Christopher Kesey. And I believe, Christopher, your mom and dad, it says your mom and dad, your brother, and 3 grandparents.
All right.
Yep, there they are. All right.
Sister.
Okay. I know that Miss Kesey over there. I sure do. Hi. We are proud to present Christopher Kesey as a Tab High School Senior of the Month. Around the building, Christopher often flies under the radar. He is quiet and does not care about drawing attention to himself or receiving personal glory. However, in the classroom, Christopher makes a big impact. Every one of his teachers sings his praises, and all hold him up as an ideal role model. They point out his integrity, his willingness to be a leader, and his thoughtful insights when participating in discussions. Christopher has been an excellent student who has challenged himself with many rigorous courses, including 9 AP classes. He is well within the top 1/3 of his class. Christopher is also completing the physical therapy, occupational therapy course at New Horizons as he pursues his interest in that area as a career. Christopher is a member of the National Honor Society, English Honor Society, Social Studies Honor Society. He is in the Youth Volunteer Corps, Beta Club, Key Club, and Jack and Jill of America, where he contributes hours of community service. Christopher is a member of the varsity indoor and outdoor track teams, as well as the Model UN. He has attended numerous leadership summer workshops at major universities. Well-rounded and committed to excellence, Christopher makes a positive impact on Tabb High School and his community every single day. We are very fortunate to benefit from Christopher's thoughtful contributions to our school. Christopher, thank you for those contributions and congratulations.
Good job. All right, our next senior of the month is York High School, Mr. Medford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If Jung Hung Lee can stand, please, with your parents. I believe your mom and dad is with you. York High School is proud to announce Jung Lee as December Senior of the Month. Jung is a dedicated Falcon and a pleasure to have at York High School. The York High School Marching Band has been a big part of his high school career. He is a member for the past 4 years and has grown tremendously as a player. He has completed numerous national and local band competitions. During his freshman and sophomore years, he received the Most Outstanding Freshman Award and Most Improved Bandsman Award. Jung has excelled academically while being in one of the division's most rigorous academic programs. Due to his academic performance, he holds memberships in the Tri-M Honor Society, Mu Alpha Theta, and the French National Honor Society. He was named as an AP Scholar in 2018 and an AP Scholar with Distinction in 2019. Last year, he took on a leadership role by creating and facilitating a tutoring group for his classmates who needed additional assistance with a course. He is involved in school clubs and enjoys being a member of the Forensics Club and the Green Team. Last year, he competed in a forensics competition where he placed second. During his junior year, he also competed in the Reflections Contest where he placed first in the musical composition at the school level and later placed third at the district level. John, we are very proud to have you as part of the Falcon family, and we know that you will continue to soar and do great things. Congratulations.
All right, next we're going to move to our Student Service Awards and give Dr. Shandor a second to get down front. And our first Student Service Award is from Yorktown Elementary School, Mr. Higginbotham.
Yes, it's my pleasure to welcome Destiny Taylor. If you can come forward, please, along with Principal Kelly Denny.
Is the principal here?
Is Ms. Denny?
Is Ms. Denny here?
Mrs. Denny? Yes.
Come on up.
Come on up, Miss Denny. Yeah. Yorktown Elementary is pleased to recognize fifth grade student Destiny Taylor as the Student Service Award winner. The motto of Yorktown Elementary is, "Falcons soar by being safe and organized, accepting responsibility, and being respectful every day." Destiny's teacher shared that this is not a motto for Destiny, it is her creed. This is evident in everything that she does at school or in her many extracurricular activities. Destiny does not settle for less than her best. Destiny is always willing to offer assistance to her classmates, and she often helps the resource teachers with kindergarten students during her recess time. Outside of school, Destiny is an active participant in Girl Scout Troop 1416, where she does a variety of community service projects. Her troop facilitated a Scouting for Food drive, participated in Clean the Bay event, donates cookies to military families each cookie season, sends supplies to Puerto Rico after the Hurricane Maria devastation, and participates in ongoing recycling projects. With her family, Destiny has volunteered on Christmas Eve at Erase the Needs Center, which is a food bank in Williamsburg. Destiny's mother describes her as a bright, kind young lady who loves to help and be around her family and friends. She's a fantastic big sister and goes out of her way to be there for her brother. Her mother said that she has been asking for months when they will be able to go to the food bank again, and they have plans to visit this holiday season. In addition to Girl Scouts, Destiny loves to dance, play softball, and play with her little brother. She loves to bake cakes with her mom and eat her aunt's macaroni and cheese. She is a member of the Falcon Soar Spirit Club and the First Lego League. She dances at her church, the Mount Peninsula. She loves to read any type of book and is writing a book at home about a high school girl named Natalie. I look forward to reading that. Her favorite classes are writing, math, and of course, STEM. When asked what she would like to be when she grows up, Destiny said, "I might be president or fashion designer." Go ahead and be both. Yeah. Destiny's committed to being the very best that she can be and giving of herself to help others. She is a model of the Falcon Soar motto. Destiny will no doubt be a positive force in the years to come in both her school and her community, and we are proud to recognize her with this honor. Please join me in congratulating Destiny Taylor.
All right, our next Student Service Award is from York High School, Mr. Medford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rianne Troutman, if you can come up, please. She is a student at York High School. And your principal, Dr. Shannon Butler. As soon as your principal, Dr. Butler's in place, York High School would like to recognize Rianne Troutman as our Student Service Award recipient. Rianne is a caring, dedicated, and hardworking young woman. She has dedicated countless hours to serving the community and has made a meaningful impact on those with whom she has worked. At York High School, Rianne has been heavily involved in chorus and has participated in every winter and spring concert since her freshman year. She is also a member of the Latin Club, the National Honor Society, and the National Latin Honor Society. In the community, Rianne has volunteered through the Leaders in Training program with the York County Parks, Recreation, and Tourism every summer. This past summer, she completed 125 hours. The Girl Scouts of America organization has been a major part of Rianne's life and has impacted her greatly. She is currently in her second year of the ambassador membership level, which prepares the Scouts for a lifetime of leadership and gives them the ability to choose what badges they want to pursue. Last year, Rianne served as a delegate, where she was the line of communication between the service units, the council's board of directors, and the chief executive officer. She has participated in the Girl Scouts of America Cookie Captain program for the past 4 years. As a participant, she teaches younger scouts about money management, how to greet customers at a cookie booth, and serves as a role model. Rianne excels in cookie selling. She has sold over 5,000, I'm trying to picture this in my mind right now, Samoas are the best, over 5,000 boxes over the past 4 years of Girl Scout cookies. Rianne, we hope that you continue to give back to your community and your next chapter of life. It's going to be something we'll all read about, I'm sure. Congratulations on receiving this award. Great job. Keep up the great work. Congratulations.
Next, we have our Community Volunteers of the Month, and from Yorktown Elementary School, Dr. George, you have that one.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Richardson. It's a pleasure this evening to introduce the Volunteer of the Month from Yorktown Elementary, Ashley Smith. And Principal Kelly Denny. Yorktown Elementary is pleased to recognize Mrs. Ashley Smith as the Volunteer of the Month. Mrs. Smith previously served as the PTA Secretary and Vice President for fundraising. This year, she has been an invaluable leader as the PTA President and accepted the position, even though she was hoping that another volunteer would emerge. But she cares so much, because she cares so much about YES students and staff. Since she said yes, Mrs. Smith has not stopped making plans, preparing, and hosting a variety of successful events for our families. Her motto is that she is the problem solver for the PTA, and it is her job to make sure that everything runs smoothly for our students and families. If there isn't a committee chair to get the job done, no matter how big or small, Mrs. Smith is there to make sure the task is complete. In just the last week, she's helped prepare for PTA Reflections Awards, led the board meeting, organized a pizza party and treasure chest for our readathon winners, and sent home informational flyers about upcoming events. This year, Mrs. Smith serves as the Yorktown Elementary Parent Representative on the YCSD Calendar Committee And last year, she was a member of our Title I Parent Advisory Committee. Most importantly, she is the mother of 3 wonderful children. In everything that she does, Mrs. Smith is a passionate advocate for students with disabilities. She was previously a special education paraeducator in the multiple disabilities and communication support classrooms. Mrs. Smith is currently one of our most faithful substitutes at Yorktown Elementary and prefers working in inclusion classrooms. She is an active member of the YCSD Special Education Advisory Committee and currently serves as the secretary for the group. The most amazing thing about Mrs. Smith is that she does all of this with a smile and positive attitude. She is truly a blessing to the Yorktown Elementary School staff, students, and community. We are so grateful for all that she does and excited to recognize her for her unwavering dedication to our school. Mrs. Smith, congratulations and thank you for all that you do for our school.
All right, Ms. Haywood, you have the next community volunteer.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Shelley Tolbert, if you will come forward, is the Volunteer of the Month from York High School, along with Dr. Shannon Butler. I want to share some information with you about Mrs. Tolbert. York High School is proud to recognize Shelley Tolbert as its Volunteer of the Year. Shelley has been a steady presence at York High School for the past 4 years, as her son Brandon will graduate this June. Beginning in 2016, Shelley has been a vital contributor to the Athletic Booster Club, the PTSA, and the York High football's very own Mom Squad. As a board member and vice chair of the PTSA for the last 4 years, she has dedicated countless hours as the fundraising chair, including face painting at football games, preparing tons of delicious goodies for staff, and delivering late-night Falcon flockings. She has run concessions each of the last 4 years at an annual car show and has organized others to work alongside her each year. This year, she is heading our senior send-off committee and has already successfully run numerous fundraisers to support that event. Throughout each football season, Shelley has been the heart and voice of the Mom Squad. She finds ways to support our student athletes on and off the field by organizing volunteer opportunities, dinners, get-togethers, and gifting our players with tons of spirit items along the way. She's always a voice of support for all of our programs, events, and students throughout all seasons, and is rarely absent from any stands. It is not an over-exaggeration when we say that we will not know what we will do without Shelley next year. Her commitment to York High School, its students, and the community is truly invaluable. Please join me in congratulating Shelley Tolbert as Volunteer of the Month.
Thank you. And Ms. Haywood, you continue to have the floor.
Yes, thank you. This is a recognition from the York Foundation for Public Education. Congratulations to Caden Chambers, if you will come and line up front for doing the Pledge of Allegiance. For our Student Service Award recipients, Destiny and Rianne, come forward, please. And our Seniors of the Month, Michaela from Bruton, Daniel from Grafton, Christopher from Tab, and Young from York. Hi. If you all come forward. Special gifts from Cookie Text, an edible tweet, are being presented tonight on behalf of the York Foundation for Public Education in partnership with Jeannie Fioca of Cookie Text, an edible tweet. A Walmart gift card is also being presented on behalf of a foundation supporter. And the individual representing the foundation tonight is no newcomer to us. Dr. Stephen Staples has returned to do this honor tonight. Welcome and thank you all. first and my last.
Congratulations.
Before he walks away, if I may, it was,
Yeah, we just sit
We
here
just-
thinking about this going.
Mark just said, Steve was our first superintendent search. You were my last superintendent search. No more. Hey, the history here.
Perfect.
We weren't going to put it that way, but
Yeah.
All right. Well, next, we're honored to recognize the efforts of several York County School Division schools for receiving the Purple Star Award from the Virginia Department of Education and the Virginia Council on the Interstate Compact Educational Opportunity for Military Children. The Purple Star Award recognizes students, educators, and administrators for their work to create a supportive learning environment and to remove barriers to the academic successes for children of military families. This award is being presented to 123 schools in Virginia, and we are excited that 6 York County School Division schools have qualified for the award. So I'm going to call the names of each school representatives and ask them to come forward. After the award is presented, I'd ask each of the principals to remain on the stage while the other team members return to their seats to allow us to have enough room on the stage for all the presentations. So representing Bethel Manor Elementary School, we have Chrissy Wagner, principal, Lindsay Kurtz, ACI, and Sherry Carducci, school counselor, if they could come forward. Great, thank you. So representing Tabb Elementary School, we have Mary Lugo, principal, Anthony Friedman, assistant principal, Andrea Ross, school counselor, and Carrie Colazo Gonzalez, school counselor, and Joni Luttrell, ACI. All right, representing Waller Mill Elementary, we have Tremaine Hopkins, principal, Beth Welch, assistant principal, and Katie Gaylord, school counselor.
Pass down. Each get one.
Thank you. And representing Yorktown Elementary School, we have Kelly Denny, principal, Tammy Kajerick, assistant principal, Ebony Griffin, assistant principal, and Danielle Neubauer, school counselor. And representing Grafton Middle School, we have Tiana Anthony, principal, Steve Gavin, assistant principal, Julie Martin, ACC, Stephanie Cobble, school counselor, and Jennifer Richardson, school counselor. And our last Purple Star School Award goes to Bruton High School. We have Letha Dockery, principal, Shanna Gist, English teacher, and Brittany Reed, school counselor. Congratulations. All right, next we have the ASBO Budget and Comprehensive Annual Financial Report Awards. And if I could have, we have 3 awards to present. So if I could have Mr. Bill Bowen, Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Cassandra Dillard, Payroll Supervisor, Ms. Allison Braban, Budget and Financial Supervisor, and Ms. Margaret Kirk, Accounting Supervisor, come forward. So this is for the FY 2020 Budget Award. The York County School Division's fiscal year 2020 budget was awarded the Meritorious Budget Award from the Association of School Business Officials International, and it is the 22nd consecutive year that the school division has earned this award. The award represents the highest form of recognition in governmental and school district budgeting. To receive the budget award, the budget must meet nationally recognized guidelines for effective budget presentation, be technically well-prepared, and be easy to understand. The budget award program is designed and to encourage exemplary budgeting practices. So the 2 FY 2018 Comprehensive Annual Financial Reporting Awards, the CAFR Awards, the York County School Division's fiscal year 2018 CAFR was awarded the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting Award from the Association of School Business Officials International and the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting Award from the Government of Financial Officers Association, United States and Canada. To meet the standards for the CAFR awards, the CAFR must be efficiently organized and satisfy generally accepted accounting principles and applicable legal requirements. The CAFR awards are the highest form of recognition awarded to the field of government financial reporting. This is the 21st consecutive year that the school division has earned the CAFR awards. Congratulations. So once you get finished running back and forth, we're just kidding. Next, we have our accent on academics, and Dr. Shandor, I'm going to let you share information about tonight's accent on academics.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Good evening, board members. For this evening's Accent on Academics, Bruton High School will present the Sports Medicine Pathway. The Governor's Health Science Academy at Bruton High School is one of Virginia's 9 Governor's Health Sciences Academies. This academy combines academic coursework and clinical experiences in a challenging and collaborative school environment to prepare students for careers in health sciences. Ms. Arletha Dockery, Bruton High School principal, will now introduce this evening's speakers. Ms. Dockery.
Thank you, Dr. Shandor. It is indeed a pleasure to share the progress of the Governor's Health Science Academy at Bruton High School. Since 2013, Bruton has worked to develop career pathways that help students gain a deeper understanding of the skills and knowledge that's incorporated in the health science field of their choice. In the fall of 2018, we developed an additional career pathway, which is sports medicine, which provides students with the course competencies of injury prevention, nutrition, first aid, exercise physiology, and biomechanics. After students complete the course sequence of Introduction to Health and Medical Science, Medical Terminology, Sports Medicine 1 and 2, these students are prepared to earn an industry certification as a certified physical trainer. Karina and Emily will give you an overview of the program.
Hello, good evening. My name is Karina Glass, and this is my senior year, and I've been in the medical and health science program for 4 years. And my plans after high school are to attend college and focus on the area in the medical field.
Hi, I'm Emily Hayes. This is my third year in the health and medical science. I'm interested in attending college to study kinesiology, and I soon hope to pursue a career as an athletic trainer.
So during our freshman year, we started Intro to Health and Medical Science. In this class, we studied directional terms, basic anatomy, and the basic 12 body systems. We started the year with the history of medicine and how it changed over time. This is a course that helped me know that I was really interested in a career in the medical field. My most memorable experience in this class is when we explored the respiratory system and the dangers of smoking. During this lab, we examined a healthy lung and a smoker's lung. This lab allowed us to inflate a healthy lung, and we compared the size to the healthy lung and the inflation size of the smoker's lung.
In medical terminology, during our second year, we learned prefixes, suffixes, and root words, and how they combine to make medical terms. It was fun to learn these terms this way because there are a lot of terms to remember. For example, it's a study tool we used. It was a combination of pictures and words to help us remember. So the suffix plasty reminds us of the root word plaster, which is a substance that is used to make a cast for broken bones while it repairs itself. So we know that plasty is a suffix that means repair. The root word rhino means nose, plasty means repair, so a rhinoplasty would mean a surgical repair of the nose. We learned a lot of background knowledge about our basic body systems, how terms are made, and we went further in depth about body systems and diseases and how the diseases that occur with them. We read a lot of case studies, did labs, and it was a lot of vocabulary. In Sports Medicine 1, we learned how to wrap injuries and what happens when those injuries occur. We started the year learning legal terms, creating an emergency action plan, and how to take a medical history and body composition. We learned different ways to find your BMI and body fat percentage. We've also learned how to wrap shoulders, hips, knees, and ankle sprains. In the picture, I am wrapping an ankle sprain.
So our fourth course is Sports Medicine 2, and this is the first year that it is offered at Bruton. And in this class, we prepare for the Certified Personal Training exam. We focus on muscle systems and functions, and we also create strengthening and conditioning programs for athletic teams. I really enjoyed the personal trainer portion of this class because it allowed me to see how much your body could change throughout training and conditioning. This picture shows an example of one of the training skills tests that we have done. This skills test assess both strength and agility. So in the picture, you can see a kid. He has his hands spread out in the boxes, and the goal was for him to tap each hand in a certain amount of time.
We have the opportunity to shadow our athletic trainer and watch and learn from him firsthand. We go to BHS athletic events, and we get to help any athlete that got injured on the field or just needs a quick wrap. We get to watch and help him roll muscle cramps, do physical exams on the athletes, and render aid. Throughout the game, we make sure the water bottles are filled to make sure the athletes don't cramp or get injured.
So today we brought with us one of the labs that we've done in our medical terminology class. So in that class, when we were learning about the basic functions, one of the systems that we went over is the skeletal system. And we learned several ways to identify the bones and remember them. And we walked in class one day and there was a tray of bones on the tables. So imagine that you're an orthopedic surgeon and identify the bone that is in front of you on the dissection tray.
Pelvis.
Scapula?
What did you say?
I don't know. Scapula, the back?
Yes.
Yeah, backbone.
Clavicle?
Yes.
Femur?
That's actually your tibula and fibula,
Okay.
which is below the femur.
Okay.
Ribs?
Yes.
Should they give me the hard one? It's like part of the arm?
So that one's your humerus. Yes.
Gotta be, okay.
Humorous bone. Humorous.
All right.
Questions tonight? And do we have any questions?
We knew that the program was at Bruton, and I'm pleased to see that it's doing so well and that you all are truly enjoying it. I hope it continues to expand, and look to hear from you all in the future what you are doing after you've graduated. Congratulations.
So what do you, when you have, do you have identification exams on the bones? So you'll have them set up all around the room, and you have to go through and name and do just what you asked us to do, is that correct?
Yes, or so our exams would be a complete blank skeleton. You have to label all of the bones that you can remember.
Okay. What about muscles?
We do muscles.
You're
yes.
working with that too?
Yes.
Okay. That's awesome.
Impressive.
Great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, the program, we knew what this program was going to grow into. Having a daughter that graduated from York High School and now is with her BSN as a nurse, RN, back those years ago, programs like this didn't exist, but to have a jump start into something to where you can build skill sets, receive a certification, to be able to decide what path you're going to take before you even exit high school is just awesome. And then, the skill sets you're going to take into college, I mean, you're going to be so leaps ahead of everyone else. And so hats off to your dedication to the program and talk and tell others about it. So I'd love to see it duplicated at all our high schools, actually. So
Do you take a medical terminology
Yes.
class? Did I see
that's
that?
a tough one.
See, that's, what's that?
That is our second year.
Okay. But that is so critical if you're pursuing a medical career. I mean, everything, you can already see how, once you learn the terminology and the Greek words and the suffixes and prefixes, everything just makes sense. So when you go to college, if you end up studying science, medicine, or whatever you do, you're going to be light years ahead. So I just think this is wonderful, no doubt. So
Great program.
And
hats
if I
off.
can ask also, you've had opportunity to go out and do clinical training. Did you do anything with the hospital or any off-campus sites?
So I believe last year we took a field trip to Thomas Nelson, and we got to see their nursing program
Okay.
and their dental program there. So
Okay.
each kid gets an idea. Hey, if you don't know exactly what you want to do after school, you can always attend TNCC, and they have these different courses that you can take. And we got to sit in the chairs and see what the students do there, and got to play with the machines.
Okay, fantastic. And with your stethoscopes, you do blood pressures?
Yes.
Okay, all right, fantastic. Congratulations again.
All right, great job. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful. All right, before we take our break, I have a short special presentation. I hope it's not too long. It shouldn't be. But it just has to do with the board members who are, this is going to be their last official meeting is tonight. So I'm going to start with Dr. Shandor, if you'd like to share a few remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Richardson. Well, good evening, board members, and the three of you that this is your last meeting. So July 25th, 2014 at 10 a.m. was a big day for me. That was my interview with you all a number of years ago. I was excited. I was nervous to meet the board in York County. They were a very intimidating group. I can still see Ms. Haywood giving me the look during the meeting, during the interview, I should say. From that point forward, after that meeting, I knew that this was the school board that I wanted to work for. They were committed to students in the school division. They were caring, educated, passionate, and they had extremely high expectations. Again, I felt like it was a perfect fit. Now, 5 years later, and we're saying goodbye. We're saying goodbye to 30 years of service for Ms. Haywood, 20 years of service for Mr. Medford, and 12 years for Dr. George. A combined total 62 years is more commendable than words can really say. Over your years on the board, how many schools have you entered? How many hallways traveled, graduations, school functions, and award ceremonies attended during that amount of time? Then there were the countless meetings, hearings, school plays, professional development classes, conferences, and passionate discussions over important topics over those years. How many students, teachers, and administrators have been impacted over the combined 62 years? The definition of impact is having a strong effect on someone or something. Impacting students in their future has been an important part of your life's work. Your influence will leave a lasting footprint on those whose lives you directly touched, as well as for future generations. On a personal note, I'd like to say I also have learned from your experience, leadership, and oversight. I've benefited from the opportunity to serve our students alongside of such outstanding and caring leaders. Your heart has always been one turned towards our students, and the decisions made were always in their best interest. Thank you for giving us your time, your abilities, talents, and experience. I'm a better superintendent for having known each of you, and our school division is better for having you serve as board members. The journey will continue, and your impact will continue to be felt for many years to come. Thank you for your many contributions. We wish you the best in the next phase of your life. Thank you.
Thank you. So next, I'm going to have Dr. Steve Staples come forward. He was former superintendent for York County Schools, former state superintendent of schools, and current member of the York Foundation for Public Education. So Dr. Staples.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Shandor, thank you so much for a little bit of time on a packed agenda. I'm a little thrown off because I'm looking at these photographs and we're talking about departed board members, and I'm not sure that we're not at the funeral here. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm glad to see you're still physically here with us to enjoy the moment. Before I speak to the three who are leaving, to the board members who are coming back and those who were just elected, thank you for your service to the community. What you do for this community is so important. People will tell you that one of the reasons they moved to York County is the schools, and your work is vital to the success of those schools. So I commend you for either your continued service or the service you're about to begin. We appreciate that. It makes York a better place to live for all of us. Now to our board members who are leaving the board, Dr. George, I was really thankful that I had time to overlap with you. I think you early on showed you were going to be a terrific board member, and you've done nothing to dim that vision. Honestly, just in the first conversations with you, you showed an ethical base, a moral compass that I knew would guide you through some of the tough decisions the board had to make. And it's evident in your contributions that you've let that perspective play out and influence the board. But you also had it tough because you didn't just run into your constituents at events. You ran into your constituents all day long at work. And as much as you tried to keep their mouths full so they couldn't talk, I know you got an earful every day. And as a result, you kind of had to live through some of the decisions that were made. But I commend your service and the contributions you've made to the board. And I thank you for serving, even though I told you it would only be 2 nights a month. Mr. Medford, I really appreciate your service because we spent a lot of time together, even before you were a board member. You were already committed to young people in your vocation, in the time that you spent as a DARE officer. And then you chose to do this as a further contribution to students. I can't begin to number the times that you've impacted schools and students and families through not only your work, but through your service as a board member. But like Dr. George, that was a blessing and a curse, because every day you were in a school, and that meant you heard what was going on. And the good news for the board was you could bring it back to the board, and that helped filter some of the board decisions through thinking about the folks that it was impacting. The bad news was on that occasion when you made a decision that wasn't as popular as others, you literally had to live with it every day when you went into work, and you heard it every day. I think that contribution to the board was significant in that it helped the board better understand the ultimate impact of decisions. So I thank you not only for your service here on the board, but your service to DARE and young people and all the things you've done. It's been a tremendous impact. And frankly, there are a lot of kids who are just better off because of their associations with you.
Thank you.
Finally, Ms. Haywood, I have to say a few things about you. I do owe you a personal debt of gratitude. You were on the board that hired me as a school superintendent back in 1991. I thank you and those members for taking a chance on a young assistant superintendent with no experience as a superintendent, and we kind of grew into it together. You changed the trajectory of my life and the trajectory of my family's life, and will forever be indebted to you and the members of that board for doing that. But it's more than just the personal stuff. On a professional manner, you represented this board not just in a quantity, not 30 years, but in the quality. There were many times where I looked around the room and you were the only one representing a particular constituency, being that the only African American in the room, being that the only woman in the room, being that the only person from Bruton in the room. As a result of that, I think you felt not just the burden, but you had to have the courage to speak up and say perspectives that other people in the room might not have had. And because of that, I think you flavored decisions in a positive way that reflected more of the broadness and the breadth of the community than just a few folks' perspectives. Now, there is one story I do want to share, and I know our time is limited. But early in your time, in my time as superintendent, the board was making one of their first decisions on redrawing attendance lines. That was one of those unpopular things the board had to do. And it was a very tough decision. We were over at the old courthouse then, and I believe we went until a little after 2 in the morning before we finally made a decision. But I think this work kind of symbolizes, Mrs. Haywood, the way you served as a board member with great courage, because there were 3 men on the board and 2 women, and then there was me as the superintendent. And after many, many attempts to get this decision made and come to some resolution, one of the male board members said, look, we're wasting enough time. Why don't the 3 of us and Steve go in the men's room and we'll work this out and come back with a decision? And you didn't miss a beat. You said, you can go in there if you want, but I'm coming with you.
Good job.
I will tell you honestly, I believed you. I thought you were coming in there. That kind of epitomizes your service to the board because you were determined that your voice was going to be heard and those folks who weren't always represented were going to be represented. So it's not just a personal debt that we owe you, but the community owes you a debt of gratitude. The 3 of you over 60 years is unbelievable because I saw so many communities during my time at the state where there was constant turnover in the board, where folks were coming and going and the school board just couldn't get traction around what needed to be done. Your continuity is a significant part of the success of this school division. I know your service will be missed, but we all say thank you for that service, and I hope you will reconnect with your families after this. Thank you for your work on the board. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Staples. One more thing before we have a reading of a resolution and we'll be finished with the board's presentation is I have a letter from Superintendent Eric Williams, who was a superintendent here during some of y'all's tenure. And the reason I wanted to read this is because he really captured a lot of what it means to be a board member in his letter to you. So that's why I wanted to read that. And I think it says the sentiments that I would like to say, and I think probably even Brett would like to say. So this is a letter from Dr. Eric Williams. Mrs. Haywood, Mr. Medford, Dr. George, I'm writing to express my deep gratitude for your service as school board members. First, I commend you for your significant investment in time and emotional energy that you have made. Most people truly have no idea how much of your time and heart you have committed. You spend countless hours preparing for board meetings, attending board meetings, speaking with community members, and participating in special events. In addition to bringing rational analysis and an intellectual insight to your work as board members, you each have approached your work as a board member with a big heart. You are empathetic in your interactions with students, staff members, and community members, and you care greatly about others as individuals, and it shows. Secondly, I salute your tremendous accomplishments. The children of York County and all of the residents of York County are better off because of your work to sustain and build excellence in schools for York County through the years. You never were content to rest on past accomplishments. The continuous improvement mindset that each of you have displayed have made a significant difference. Finally, I highlight the joy of working with each of you. You each are consistent in seeking positive, respectful relationships with others, regardless of your respective positions on particular issues. You each understand the importance of smiling and laughing, even as you do the important work. Thank you for being so authentic in your interactions with others. I cherish the fond memories of working with each of you. At times, being a school board member can be a thankless job, and you conclude your terms of service as a school board member. Please know that you are appreciated. Warm regards, Eric Williams. So thank you. So I have one of those for each of you if you want to take one and pass it down. So, all right, and last, I'm going to have everyone, the three board members that are exiting, and this will be the last meeting, come down to the front. We have a short resolution we want to read, so just come down to the front with us. And Brett, if you would join us down there as well.
A resolution commending Barbara S. Haywood, Robert W. George, and Mark A. Medford. Whereas the direction of public education is of paramount importance to the quality of life in York County, where the children and young adults are the county's most vital resource. And whereas Barbara S. Haywood, Robert W. George, and Mark A. Medford were elected to serve York County Public Schools with high distinction and outstanding dedication as school board members. And whereas their participation has enhanced the school board's efforts in partnership with the entire community to empower every student to become a lifelong learner who is a responsible and productive citizen within the global community. Resolved that the School Board of York County, Virginia commends and extends its grateful appreciation to Barbara S. Haywood, Robert W. George, and Mark A. Medford for a job well done. And be it further resolved that this original resolution be presented to Barbara S. Haywood, Robert W. George, and Mark A. Medford in recognition of their service. Now, therefore be it resolved on this 16th day of December in the year 2019 by the School Board of York County, Virginia, that Barbara S. Haywood, Robert W. George, and Mark A. Medford hereby are commended and thanked for their dedicated service to the board, the school division, the citizens of York County, and the children who attend York County schools. Signed, James E. Richardson, Chair, and Victor D. Shandor, Superintendent. Audience, please join me in showing our appreciation for these three public servants.
The board's going to be in a short recess. Thank you. Okay. All right, we're going to reconvene the meeting. So welcome back, everyone. So next on the agenda, any unfinished business the board has? Okay. Hearing none, we're going to move on to presentations, and we have the 2019 audit CAFR presentation by Cherry Beckert. Dr. Shandor, would you like to share information about this report?
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Actually, I'm going to introduce, if we can bring up Mr. Rob Churchman and Ms. Laura Harden, they'll come forward to provide this report.
Click.
Looks like just Mr. Churchman will be up.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will be brief. I bring great tidings this time of year and a great present for you about the results of the audit. I know you have a full agenda, but because the audit standards require us to give communications to those charged with governance at the end of every audit, I'm required to be here today to give you those brief communications. Now, for those of you who've sat through these, 30 years, you've sat through 30 of these at least, the communications haven't changed from prior year. And you're also going to probably say, Rob, I know you're telling me some things that are really obvious. We know we hired you to do an audit. Well, the communications are required because they don't presume that you were part of an earlier process or part of a procurement process and so forth. And also for the people that are in the audience, it's obvious how easily an auditor can clear the room, right? Everybody's gone. They looked ahead on the agenda and said, well, we're getting out of here for this. But I'll briefly have a roadmap to make sure that I catch everything. Basically, the engagement services, the overall audit results, and then some required communications for those charged with governance. We were hired under competitive procurement to perform an audit of not only the county but also the schools. You have your separate financial statements. That audit is to be conducted under our regular auditing standards, but also because of the nature of some of your funding and so forth, we have government auditing standards and also state specifications that we're required to do some compliance testing over and so forth. Those haven't changed from prior year. The three things I've just told you has what you've been required to be audited in over the years. Just like last year. We do our field work starting in an interim, and it's usually in the summer, depending on before the general ledger is closed. And we come back in the fall time frame, once the general ledger has been closed, reconciliations have been prepared and so forth, the financial statements have been pulled together. And then as you can see from the November 27th item there, we issued our report on our opinion on that date. I'm here tonight for our communications. Now, the most important slide, number 6, what you want to hear from your auditor. I don't get to tell such rosy results to all of my clients because my clients do have issues sometimes with their financials and pulling their reports together and so forth. But our opinion on your financial statements is that we call it unmodified, which is a fancy word for saying clean. Basically, we found your statements were fairly presented in all material respects and, of course, are generally accepted accounting principles, the highest of high opinion you can get. We also didn't note any control factors, we call them weaknesses, but basically control fractures that we need to tell you about in the financial reporting process. Again, the highest opinion you can get. We had 2 minor Virginia compliance matters that we're required. They really don't have much of a materiality level. The state wants to see everything that we see. And there were minor items that I do see across the state. So I'm hesitant to even put them on here, but I've got to tell you I had two minor items. They're in the back of your CAFR that Mr. Bowen had provided to you all in the Virginia compliance section. With regards to our required communication, I have 3 slides here of the standard communication that you've heard. For those of you who've been on here for 30 and 20 and 12 and so forth, you've heard these communications over the years, and they just haven't changed. Because the standards don't presume that you are here 24/7 working in the finance department and knowing about all policies that are in place for financial reporting, I'm required to let you know whether or not there was any changes from prior year. We're not aware of any changes through our testing in the policies and how the statements and so forth were brought together. Also, because any statement, unless it's the most simple lemonade stand, is going to have some kind of estimate involved with it. Not every number in your financial statements is going to have a hard invoice or a hard receipt or a hard check that ties to it. And these are items like actuarial computed liabilities, depreciation expense and so forth, and allowance for doubtful accounts. If you have accounts receivable that's out there and you may not get it all in, we look at these estimates each year to make sure they're comparable, to make sure that my clients aren't changing them wildly from year to year to quote-unquote manage the bottom line. Now, obviously, that's more common or more likely to happen in a corporate environment. But these standards that I have to communicate with you on are for governments and corporations and so forth. So here, I found your estimates were reasonable, comparable, also along with your peers around the state, and therefore we thought that they were fairly stated in all material respects. I'm also required to let you know if we ever had any adjustments that we needed to have made to the financial statements to make them materially correct, or if they were minor immaterial items, but they're important enough for you to know about. That wasn't made to the statements, but we would want you as governments to know what they were. In each of those cases, we didn't have any adjustments that were required to be communicated to you today, and that's a testament to the finance department making sure those numbers are rock solid by the time they provide them to us in order to audit them in the fall time frame. This slide is a little ominous. It's not intended to be. I do have some clients where I have disagreements with management or I have difficulties getting audited information. That's why the standards have these communications there. In your case, these are absolutely opposite. We had no disagreements with management. We had no difficulties getting information. Whenever we needed something, finance department got us the information we needed. And again, it's a testament to them being able to pull all their books and records together timely and effectively for us to get in and get out of the audit. I'm also required to let you know if there was any consultations that we were made aware of, that where the county and the schools would be consulting with other accounting firms to try and get a better decision on a transaction and so forth. Again, that's more common in the corporate area, but because these standards are for corporations and governments, I can tell you that I have to positively affirm you that I'm not aware of any communications that were made by the school board finance team to any kind of outside auditor or accountant. I'm almost there. One last slide. I know you got a full agenda. I looked ahead. I'm required to make you aware that the standards require finance management provide to me as the auditor a letter asserting to me and representing to me very key items in financial reporting. Basically, for example, that they are your financial statements. They're not our financial statements. We give you a couple pieces of paper, but they're finances, the finance in the school board's financial statements. Also, that we've been made aware of all legal matters. We've been made aware of any kind of regulatory reviews that could have been done from a grant monitor and so forth. These are representations that are very standard in our profession, and I'm required to let you know if I ever had anybody here want to change their representation, that would give me some pause. Why can't you represent to me this very simple, straightforward aspect of your responsibilities under the auditing standards? I positively affirm to you that I was not asked to make any changes to my representations, and the representation provided to us as we requested and timely on the 27th of November so we could issue our report. This is always towards the end, and I need to move this up front because this is more important than anything else, actually, in all these communications. We go through a lot of steps in our firm to make sure our people and our relationships with our clients are on the top, and we are independent of all activities. If I wasn't independent or any member of my team wasn't independent, the paper I gave you would be worthless because I wouldn't be objective, and it would not be any worth to you. So I have to positively affirm to you each year that we are independent in all things that we know of and all transactions that we have with you and so forth. So our objectivity is maintained as it needs to be under the audit standards. And then finally, there's two pieces of information in your comprehensive annual financial report that I want to just make sure you're aware of. Up front, there's what we call the management discussion analysis, and that's a section where you talk to the reader about changes that happened during the year and why they happened and so forth. We're not required under the audit standards to give any opinion on those, but we do read them and make sure they make sense, make sure the numbers relate throughout the rest of the statements and so forth. But we don't give any opinion on whether or not the actual discussion in there is valid. Behind the core part of the financial statements, that we have other supplementary information, which is information that is a more detailed level than it is up front. But we're required to look at that information and give you some comfort over the fact that the information in the back makes sense in all material respects to when it gets combined up front and gets more consolidated up front, so you have some comfort that the numbers in the back, you can use them for your own analysis and so forth. And again, none of that has changed from prior years and so forth. And those are my required communications. Whoops, made it go away. I made my picture go away. That was the best thing I was trying to do, trying to get that picture of me going away, because that can frighten anybody. I made it black and white to kind of help, but the color is terrible. But I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have, or I certainly understand that, hey, Rob, we don't want auditors around anymore. We have to get out. I don't take it personally.
I'll just make a quick comment, and that is over the 20 years that you mentioned earlier, whether it's been your firm or any others, just the thoroughness of what you do to make sure that we're as transparent as we can to the public about our funds and the public funds. So thank you and your colleagues and other companies that do what you do for school divisions across the country, because it's public money, and you got to. Sure. And we got a great staff of folks that do a great job in keeping up with every dime. So
I agree.
I agree. And thank you, Mark. I agree with his sentiments. And the two areas that you mentioned initially that were non-significant and non-critical have been taken care of as far as any need to be clarified.
Procedure to be put in
Yes.
place to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Okay.
And they were kind of one-offs,
Right.
frankly.
Right.
But the state says, Rob, tell me everything you see.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Yes, sir,
Appreciate
thank
that
you.
presentation.
You all have a
Thank
great
you.
holiday season.
You too.
too.
All right, next we're going to move into capital projects report. Dr. Shandor.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. I'm going to ask Mr. Shearhart, Associate Director for Capital Plans and Projects, come forward with this month's construction report. Mr. Shearhart.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, here is your capital projects report for the month of December. I'm focusing on only 3 schools this evening, so I'll be very rapid, very quick. The first of these is Grafton Middle School and High School. This is the HVAC replacement, main office reorientation there. The electrical contractors are working during the day on the 3rd floor of the middle school, and the contractors will be continuing to work over the winter break to doing some work on the middle school side. This next summer, the entire middle school and the high school band room, which was not done last summer, will receive their new heating and air conditioning, new lights, and new ceilings. The next project I'd like to touch on is the Dare Elementary School breezeway enclosure. And as you know, this one was held up because of some underground power cables that were running underneath the location where the addition was going to be, or the building was going to be built. Since those were removed on November 21st, the contractor has been continued to move on installing the foundations there and the block walls in preparation for the concrete floor. We are in the process of determining the new substantial and final completion dates due to the delay that was caused by the underground conduit, underground cables, and we're working on getting those new dates right now. This is a picture I took standing about in the middle of the breezeway there, looking towards the Extend Center front door. And you can see here they've built up the concrete blocks here, and they're making preparations to pour the concrete floor here. They have a little bit more to do before they're ready, but they believe they'll have this last section of floor poured by this Friday. This next picture here is standing in the back of Dare Elementary School, looking at where the breezeway enclosure is going to be at. You can see again here the floor where they're going to be building that at. But you can see here on this picture here where the walls, the concrete block walls, actually stopped because the contractor couldn't continue to work. And then once they pour that floor, next Monday they plan to continue these block walls all the way over to the Extend Center. The last project is Mount Vernon Elementary School, and we're right now, they've been polishing up that breezeway enclosure there. They're just arranging for the final building inspection so we can get a certificate of occupancy there. And the architects did their last inspection last Friday. You see the substantial completion date there is Christmas Eve, so I think we're going to definitely make that. This is, you can see, polished and ready to go here. We're waiting on those final building inspections. This is looking out again at the doors on the left-hand side there are the library doors. All the doors have now been installed throughout the wing, locks installed and everything. And this is from the other end of that breezeway. You can see the drinking fountains there and the bottle filling station. So it looks all ready to go except for the building inspections. And then I thought I'd slide another slide in here. This is what because of the design of the office there at Mount Vernon, the secretaries are actually having to sit up against this wall, this window wall here. So we wanted to make it, give them some privacy with that window wall and also allow them to see out into the lobby area, what was going on out there. So the contractor installed this window film there. I think it turned out really great, and I just wanted to slide that picture in here. And that was my last slide and last picture for this meeting and for this year. Do you have any questions for me?
I do not, but Mr. Shearhart, thank you. I'm going to miss your presentations, but thank you for all the hard work that you do in keeping up with all the construction and repairs.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Shearhart. Appreciate that presentation. So next, we're going to move on to public participation at board meetings. I'll call up anyone who signed up to speak. We have 2 opportunities to speak tonight. First is the general topics, and the second is specifically relating to comments for the public hearing on the FY21 Superintendent Recommended Capital Improvements Program. And the board provides public comment period for the public to comment. To germane business of the board, we just ask that the speakers be courteous and speak to the board, and they'll may speak up to 3 minutes, and the timer will start when you state your name and address after that. So first person to sign up is Brian Smalls. Come forward.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Smalls. I'm at 216 Strawberry Plains Road in Williamsburg, Virginia. First and foremost, to each of the board members who has been here and served faithfully for 12, 20, and 30 years, we obviously thank you for your service. But I'm here specifically for one board member this evening. Ms. Haywood, I purposely did not prepare any comments because I wanted this to come from the heart. You've been a faithful member of our branch of the NAACP for many, many years. And we thank you for your service. And we know now that you are stepping down, you're going to be able to be more active and involved. So we're definitely looking forward to that being the case. Obviously, we have some folks here from the organization. And so, again, we want to thank you for your service. Now, on a personal note, I've known you, actually, you've known me, look, almost all of my life. You know, I know your boys, obviously, I know your husband, and we are truly, truly going to miss you. But I know when you get done, even though you're done here, there's going to be a lot more in store for you once you get finished. So I know you've already come down once before, but on behalf of the York, James City, Williamsburg branch of the NAACP, we want to say thank you and congratulations for your years of service.
Congratulations.
He is like one of my own sons. Yes, 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 thank you. Beautiful. Thank you. Ladies, thank you too.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. And that's our only speaker for the public comment period, for the general public comment, so that's closed. And we're going to move on to our public hearing for the FY21 Superintendent Recommended Capital Improvement Program. So Dr. Shandor, do you have any comments before we open that?
I do, just a few brief comments. As you know, Dr. Carroll presented the facilities master plan at the November work session, which he outlined the needs of the school division. At the December work session, Mr. Bowen presented the superintendent's proposed CIP for FY 21 through 26. At this time, there are no changes from the presentation from this past week. Tonight, this will be an opportunity for the public to comment on the proposed CIP. With that, I turn it back to you to begin the public hearing.
Thank you. And we have no one signed up for the public comment period, but I know we did do some budget meetings, I guess, open meetings with the public, which they had an opportunity to comment there, so maybe those individuals commented at that point. So the public hearing is closed, and we're going to move on to matters by board members. Mr. Medford, you are up first,
Thank you.
as requested.
I'll be brief, and all I can do is say, wow, what an evening, to everyone that's brought comments and just, reference our service. 20 years, hundreds of meetings, but I can look back and say this is one of the most rewarding chapters of my life. There are a lot of others, but this one, 20 years, there's a lot of memories and stories that we could talk about for hours, if not days. I have to thank my family, my wife and my kids, Pam being my wife, and Mariah and Matthew. There was some sacrifice serving on this board, and we all know that it was time away from our families and nowhere near the time away a superintendent spends and other staff. But for us, it's time away from our family, even though we're in our house reading documents or communications. But I got to see my children all through the school until graduation. So that was something that gave it, just a meaning that you have to be there to understand, to be on that stage when they walk across. My friends in the community, thank you to them. 4 superintendents, I think we mentioned that tonight. I mean, Dr. Staples, I came in under. Then Carl James served for a short time. Eric Williams we hired, and then Vic Shandor. I can't say enough about y'all teach me probably more than I've probably helped you. I always like to watch people and their leadership styles because I gain from that, and it makes me a better person, I think, in the multiple roles that I may be involved in. So leadership from all of those folks have been just awesome to pick up on. And then the multiple chief officers that we've been able to see come through and be appointed. And I think of one in particular, dating way back, that we could laugh about, you know, when Mr. Hickson was here this evening. He was another one that just, you could just learn from, you know, leadership and just things that he would teach us as board members with suggestions. Our board clerks started with Marilyn, I'm ending with Mrs. Ford. Without our board clerk, we're lost. I mean, we wouldn't know what direction to go in. And I can say, Sandy, I'm going to miss you greatly. You'll probably still get a phone call every once in a while going, hey, what's that superintendent doing? Hadn't heard from him. You know, but you guide the board and what we do, and on a personal note, you can, I call you on the phone, but I can see your smile. I mean, it comes right through the phone. So thank you for everything you've done to keep us straight. And the many directors and principals and others that helped me along the way. Because of YCSD, I'm the person who I am, probably more so than I think I've helped them. To my fellow board members, including Mr. Felling, that I learned so much from, and the ones we've lost, Mr. Mentor and Mr. Henry. Learned from many of you too. I mean, I've been defined by, I think, the relationships we've all had with each other. New chapters. My family's expanding. Best of all, grandchildren. One was here this evening, one's on the way, due in June. So another time commitment. So I'm stepping away from this role, not because I don't like it or don't enjoy it or the superintendent's driving me nuts. No, absolutely not, Vic. I thoroughly enjoy what I do as a board member, and I'm going to miss the work. I'm going to miss the relationship. I'm going to miss working with Vic and staff, but I need to move on to new chapters in my life. District 3 is in very good hands. Lowell Gerault, you're going to do awesome work. You already do, and you already have done. YCSD, District 3, and the entire community of York County should be very proud of you and the others that have been elected to office. I think each one of you have in your heart to do what's best for YCSD. I've known you a long time. You've proved yourself into this role, and it makes me feel so much better knowing you're stepping into District 3 seat. So thank you for taking that on, even though I've been kind of telling you run, but not really. But it's a lot of fun. You got a great team of people you're joining. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve District 3. I will miss the bird's eye view of the hard work and dedication to everyone that works in YCSD, a lot of new people in new positions that I won't be able to see grow and develop in their positions, but I know that YCSD is in good hands. With that, I wish our school division Godspeed in the future as I pass the torch, and thank you very much for everything you've given me as a school district. So with that, mic drop.
Thank
you.
Thank you for those brief remarks. And we're going to move on to Dr. George.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Well, unlike my two esteemed colleagues over here, I don't have a written script.
I had to tonight. I couldn't have kept it.
It was wonderful, very helpful. But, you know, so much. Thank you, first of all, for this. It's just overwhelming tonight, really, quite honestly. Just from the time I walked into the reception downstairs to this, it's just been so nicely done and overwhelming. Thank you, Jimmy and Sandy and Vic and Brett, for whoever else I'm missing that helped plan this. It's been wonderful. You know, a bunch of thank yous, and I know I'm going to miss somebody, but, you know, thank you to my family. You know, you talk about the kids. I mean, there is time away from your family, no doubt, but I think some of the memories I have the most is and Ms. Siders can attest to this, is, you know, the looks on their faces when I showed up at the schools. You know, the tab from Mount Vernon to Tab Middle to Tab High. I think my son Carter would run and hide, you know, my dad's here. But they made it through it, and that's been a really, really neat, unique experience for me, and I appreciate that. My wife's been wonderful and tremendous and supportive. You know, I want to thank my fellow board members. It's truly been an honor and a privilege to work with each of you, and I've learned from each of you. Mark, I have to say, you know, you and I kind of hit it off when I first came on this board, and you sort of really kind of mentored me, and I appreciate that. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of growth, and I will miss those times, but I feel certain that we will see each other. I'm going to be swimming in your pool this summer.
There you go.
So, Dr. Shandor, thank you. I don't know how else to say it other than you're just a phenomenal superintendent. And, you know, your demeanor, you know, I know your love for these kids. I know your commitment to these kids. And it's just phenomenal. And I just appreciate that. And I remember that day when we interviewed you that you talked about, and we had heard a number of interviews, and I think we were pretty much set on a candidate. And then Vic Shander walked in the room. And that candidate just went out the door, and Vic was it. And we knew that. And but you have not let us down. And I hope the citizens of York County know how fortunate they are to have you as their superintendent.
Thank you.
Sandy Ford, you know, you're so young, but I still have to say you've been like a second mom to me. You are. You're wonderful. You're sort of that nice, calm presence. I hope I can still call you and talk to you. It's been so nice, and it's a relationship that I will continue. So I appreciate your talks and your support and just your smiling face, no doubt. I'd like to say thank you to the citizens of District 5 for electing me, and it's been an honor. And I just thank you for that confidence that you put in me 12 years ago. Sean Myatt will do well. Laurel, you will enjoy Sean. He's a great guy, very involved, loves kids. So you are truly in good hands. And I think I'll just sort of close by explaining a little bit about why I'm leaving. Once again, it's not the superintendent. It's not any of that. And unfortunately, it's not retirement. But I do need to spend a fair amount of time in my business for the next 2 or 3 years to kind of prepare myself for that retirement and just to kind of get things going. So that's really my main reason for leaving. But I will say, one of my favorite quotes in the world is, we make a living by what we get, we make a life by what we give. And I think I can appreciate that at a different level now. Granted, I'm leaving this to go work and to do more at my office, but I have a real appreciation for what it takes, you know, what we have to do in terms of giving back and how that blesses us and everybody else around us. So I would just encourage everybody in their life to find a way to serve. This is a beautiful way. Find a way to serve and serve well. But anyway, that was off the cuff, but I hope you got the gist of it. So thanks again for everything. And I'll pass that on to Mrs. Haywood.
Well, first, Ms. Haywood is going to be last,
Oh.
actually. She wanted to be last tonight.
Oh, I'm
so-
sorry, Mr. Richardson.
That's okay. That's okay. We're going to go with Mr. Higginbotham.
Mr. Higginbotham.
Very quickly, I do want to give a shout out. I had a chance
wanna be
to
next?
see 2 choral concerts last week, Grafton Middle School and Tab High School. They both did amazing jobs with their programs they did. And I want to commend their directors and the students for giving such high-level musical productions and everything they gave. But I do want to take a moment and to thank Ms. Haywood, Mr. Medford, and Dr. George for the years of service that you've provided the students and families and teachers and administrators and everybody here in York County. The wealth of knowledge that you guys have is tremendous, and each of you have helped me in my long 9-month tenure so far has really helped me to understand and to think about decisions and reasons and everything. And you will certainly be missed. And I want to thank you for all the time you gave. Ms. Haywood, you were on the school board when my wife was going through York County schools. Mr. Medford, you were actually, I'm going to date her a little bit, but you were her DARE officer at Mount Vernon Elementary School in the late 80s, early 90s, I believe. So.
I enjoy my gray hair.
So, but I do want to thank you guys for everything you have done and for whatever it is that you saw in me to appoint me to this position. I'm very thankful for that for you, and I appreciate it. And I just want to wish you guys and everybody out there in York County Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and for the teachers and students to push through these last 4 days to get to Friday afternoon. I know you can do it, and then you have a well-deserved few weeks off. So thank you very much, and I wish everyone a great end of the year and a Happy New Year.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Higginbotham. I'm going to go next. I'm definitely going to be brief. I wanted tonight to be about you three because it's your last official meeting, and hopefully that was accomplished tonight, to be about you three. 62 years total service with all of you combined. That's a lot of experience that's leaving the board. So expect a few phone calls in the future. So again, Merry Christmas to everyone, Happy Holidays, and have a great winter break. Ms. Haywood.
Thank you. To Dr. Shandor, to you, Mr. Richardson, I know to Sandy, to Catherine, everybody who put on the reception tonight, thank you. It was wonderful. And it was just so nice seeing some of the people came back when I first started. It was good to reminisce. Well, I've known that this time was going to come, and it's with mixed emotions. First, I will say that God has blessed me with my health, my strength, and has truly guided me over these 30 years to complete this opportunity. He's given me a voice and an understanding of the duties of this position. I must also thank my family, especially my husband, Kenneth, who's with me tonight, for standing by me on this journey. It's truly been a family affair, and the special highlights for me has been the ability to present all 3 diplomas to all 3 sons as they graduate from Bruton High School. That is special. And I can tell you some good points and some bad points when I would always tell them, I've got eyes and ears in places you can't conceive of. Don't mess up. I want to extend a sincere appreciation to the citizens initially of District 2, but later District 1 after rezoning, who have continued to support me for these 30 years. You must agree with me when I say that this has been an amazing opportunity and one that I will have never received, and one in which I never received any opposition over the 30 years. So I thank the citizens for that. And I hope that this occurred because the citizens of the county had faith in me. It's truly been a journey of love and appreciation for our students. Lastly, that special appreciation to all school board members, and I started to try to think back on how many and who, and I stopped counting. You said 4 superintendents. I'm going to add the 5th because Dr. Judith Ball was here when I started, and she soon retired. All the faculty, staff, the central office, for everybody, and we have Ms. Skinner down there, the brand new one that's leaving on the lower dais that has joined us. So I leave all of you, and I know y'all will be running the county wonderfully, and don't even question that. We have learned a lot from each other along the way. We have become family along the way and know about each other's family. I can vividly remember in 1989 being asked during my very first interview why I wanted to become a school board member. And my answer was something like this: I feel that I can speak for and on behalf of all students since I had been involved with the PTA and had 3 sons in the school, so I knew I was going to be vested. But I could also address the concerns of the African American community. But I never thought that that initial interview would have led to this 30-year opportunity. If you ask me what I want my legacy to be, I would say that I hope that I made a significant contribution to the advancement of the educational opportunities for all of our students, and that I positively represented the school division locally and at the state and national levels. Again, I thank God for placing me in this unique and amazing position. We each have come to this position with our own life experiences, and I think that's what has made us the ability to work together. And as such, we raise issues and concerns and learn to ask many questions. And I've always joked about this, but as I leave you in 2019, I want you to always remember that little voice in the back of your heads that will say, what will Barbara say? What will Barbara do? But anyway, I said that jokingly. I ask that, and I know that you will continue that momentum of excellence that we have achieved, and at the same time continue to improve those areas that have been identified to promote all students. As I said before, I'm still going to be here in the county. I'm here to help in any way I can. I'm but a phone call away. As I might see you on the other side of the podium, who knows? But again, I thank each of you for so many special memories during this tenure on the York County School Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Haywood. Well, now we're going to get back to the rest of our agenda and financial matters. So,
I'm
Ms.
up
Haywood,
again.
you're up again.
I'm up again. I would like to present to you consideration, approval of claims. Let me find where I'm supposed to be. Financial matters, yeah, I had to go back up. This is for the period of November the 1st to November the 21st for the sum of $6,397,620.17. Under financial matters, the first is consideration of approval of claims certified for payment. We have claims certified for payment for the month of November 2019. Significant expenditures for November include instructional related expenditures totaled about $416,500 and included payment to New Horizons for $131,600 for special education tuition, Five Ponds Press for $187,250 for social studies textbooks, for Meredith Alvaro for $67,500 for Writers Workshop Professional Development, To Teach for $28,000 for professional development, to Barnes & Noble for $10,552 for books for classroom libraries. Also, expenditures include payments for technology related items totaled approximately $75,100 and included payments to Cox Communication for $24,600 for Ethernet and Internet services, to Virginia Business Systems for $17,700 for copier services, for ACES for $21,600 for building automation services, and to Mid-Atlantic for $11,200 for fire, security, and inspection services. Also, payments related to administration totaled $63,488 and included a payment to CHKD for athletic trainers. Payments related to food service totaled $374,500 and included payments to Sodexo for $340,300 for food service operations, Alto Hartley for $34,200 for supplies and equipment. Payments related to transportation totaled $99,275 for a school bus. Payments related to capital projects totaled $971,900 and included payments to Virateco for $492,200 for work at Tabb, Coventry, and Dare Elementary Schools. Heartland Construction for $228,300 for work at York High Learning Commons and Grafton Complex. LaFob Construction for $99,800 for roof replacement at Coventry Elementary. Centennial Contractors for $98,950 for painting the gym at Dare Elementary and York High restroom renovation. for VIA design for $24,800 for A&E work for the Bruton Learning Commons. Hudson and Associates for $12,300 for A&E work at the Grafton Complex. And payments related to operations and maintenance totaled $110,775 and included payments to Dominion Energy for $100,475 for utility services, and Republic Services for $10,300 for waste disposal. Now to move to consideration of approval for financial reports for November. Significant changes relating to the operating budget. For November revenues, the state revenue for November 2019 is up more than $1.3 million when compared to November of 2018. The increase is due to approved state funding increases for FY20 and increases in student enrollment. The federal revenue for November 2019 is down by more than $6.5 million from November of 2018. This is due to the fact that the federal impact aid revenue is not received on any regular or scheduled basis. For expenditures related to the fiscal reports for November, instructional expenditures are approximately $2.5 million higher in November 2019 than in 2018. This is due to the increase in instructional and support staff required for growth and the staff compensation increase for FY20. Significant changes relating to the food service budget. For revenues, the food service revenue for November of 2019 is approximately $168,000 higher than November of 2018, and this is largely due to the increase in student enrollment and participation for 2019. For expenditures, the food service expenditures are approximately $371,000 higher in November of 2019 than in 2018, and this is due to the increase in student enrollment and participation. So, Mr. Richardson, as there is no procurement resolution this evening, I make a motion to accept the financial reports for November of 2019.
All right, it's been a motion to approve the financial matters as listed. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further questions? Hearing none, Ms. Ford?
As listed. Board members, you may cast your vote. And the vote did pass 5-0. Thank you, please.
Thank you, Ms. Ford. Next, we have the consent calendar, and we have the approval of personnel actions, approval of donations in the amount of $2,790, the approval of proposed changes to the program of studies, and the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting October 28, 2019, and special meetings for November 11, 2019, and November 15, 2019. Is there anything that needs to be pulled from the consent calendar?
I don't think so.
Hearing none, is there a motion to, and a second to approve the consent calendar as listed?
Move the consent.
Is there a second? All right.
Okay,
Ms.
a
Ford?
motion is made by Mr. Medford and seconded by Mr. Hickenbotham to approve the consent calendar as listed. Board members, you may cast your vote. The vote did pass 5-0. Thank you.
All right, we have no action items and no policy discussions, but we have a first reading of the quadrennial review of Policy Section A, Foundations and Basic Commitments of the York County School Board Policy Manual. Dr. Shandor, do you have any comments?
There's no changes since the discussion.
Okay. And policy second reading is an action item. Second reading for the annual review of the policy file IGBC, Parent and Family Engagement of the York County School Division Policy Manual. Dr. Shandor?
No changes.
Okay. Is there a motion and a second to approve the second reading of the annual review of policy IGBC, Parent and Family Engagement of the York County School Board Policy Manual?
I move motion to approve.
Is there a second? No questions? All right, Ms. Ford?
Yes, a motion was made by Dr. George and seconded by Mrs. Haywood to approve the second reading of the policy. You may cast your vote. The motion did pass 5-0. Thank you.
All right, thank you. This will be the second reading of Section H, Negotiations with York County School Board Policy Manual. I need a motion to approve and second the reading of Section H, negotiations of the York County School Board Policy Manual.
I move approval of Section 8, please. Second.
Section H. Yes,
H.
correct. All right, Ms. Ford?
Yes, a motion is made by Mrs. Haywood and seconded by Dr. George to approve the second reading of the policy. You may cast your vote. The motion passed 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ford. Now we have the second reading of proposed policy GAD, digital communications. Is there a motion to approve the second reading of the proposed policy GAD, digital communications, and a second?
Move approval.
Second.
All right, Ms. Ford?
Yes, a motion was made by Mr. Medford and seconded by Mrs. Haywood to approve the second reading of the policy. You may cast your vote. The motion passed 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ford. And these were all policies that we'd been over first and second readings, so we'd already answered all of our questions we'd had earlier, either at work sessions or other meetings. So I think that's it for the business meeting for tonight. So we'll be back at our annual meeting on Monday, January 13th, 2020 at 6 p.m. with our new board members. Enjoy your Christmas and New Year holiday. Stay safe and have a wonderful break. But we're in need of a closed session now to discuss not sure what we have to discuss. I didn't read that yet.
I move that the York County School Board convene in closed session to consult with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel pursuant to the exception of Section 2.2-3711A8 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act.
Second.
All right, Ms. Ford?
Yes, a motion is made by Mrs. Haywood and seconded by Mr. Higginbotham to go into closed session. Board members, you may cast your vote. Thank you. The board passed the vote, and now you're in closed session.
Thank you. We're in closed session. This meeting's adjourned.